Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To our lecturer, Puan Azamuni binti Mohtar. We from class DPR2C session 2021-2022. My name is Muhammad Afiq Daniel bin Zamani, 03 DPR20F009.
My name is Amir Zakwan bin Ahmad, 03 DPR 20F 2045.
My name is Nur Muhammad Shukri bin Basri. My metric number is 03 DPR 20F2039.
We will start presentation chapter 1, Element in Green Fundamental. Global climate change has already had observable effect on the environment. Glaciers have shrunk, ice on rivers and lakes is breaking earlier, the range of plants and animals have changed and trees are blooming earlier. The effect that scientists predicted in the past would result from global climate change are occurring now. Loss of sea ice, accelerate sea level rise and longer and more intense heat waves. Physical impact. A wide range of evidence shows that the climate system has warmed. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) shows evidence of global warming. The proof is rising temperatures on land and oceans and rising sea levels. Another manifestation is a negative trend such as decreasing snow cover in the northern hemisphere and decreasing Arctic sea ice. Both indicates of global warming. Evidence of warming is also evident in living biological system as change in the distribution of flora and fauna towards the poles. Anthropogenic warming could lead to a large-scale, sudden or irreversible change in the system physical. One example is the melting of the ice caps, which contributes to the sea level rise and will continue for thousands of years. The likelihood of warming from unintended consequences increases with the speed, magnitude, and the duration of the climate change. These are the graphs that shows 10 indicators of warming world. Effect on the climate, extreme weather, and the tropical cyclone storm. Global warming is leading to an increase in extreme weather events such as heat wave, droughts, cyclones, snowstorm, and rainstorm, which will continue to be more frequent and intense. The change is responsible for trends in weather events. Some individual extreme weather events have also been directly attributed to climate change. Heat wave. The IPCC Sick Assessment Report 2021 predicted multiplicative increase in the frequency of extreme events compared to the pre-industrial era for heat wave, droughts, and heavy rainfall for various warming scenarios climate. Global warming increased the likelihood of extreme weather events such as heat wave, where the daily maximum temperature exceeds the average maximum temperature by 9 Celsius or 9 Fahrenheit for more than 5 consecutive days. Over the past 30 to 40 years, heat waves with high humidity have become more frequent and severe. Extremely hot nights have doubled in frequency. The area where extremely hot summers are observed increased 50 to 100 times. These changes are not explained by natural variability and are attributed by climatologists to the influence of anthropogenic climate change. Heat waves with high humidity pose a major risk to human health, while heat waves with low humidity lead to drought conditions with increased fires. Mortality from extreme heat is greater than mortality from hurricanes, lightning, tornadoes, flood, and earthquake combined. Temperatures. As described, global temperatures have increased by 1 Celsius and are expected to rise further in the future. In most parts of the Earth since 1950, it is very likely that any time of the year, the day and night will warm up due to human activities. Nighttime temperatures have risen faster than daytime temperatures. In the United States, since 1919, 2 hot weather records has been set or broken for each core. Future climate change will include more very hot days and fewer very cold days. This is a graph shown projected increase in extreme event. This is also the graph shown indicators increase a warming world for the past years. Health. Humans are exposed to climate change through changing weather conditions, temperature, precipitation, sea level rise, and more frequent extreme events are indirectly through the change in the quality of water, air, and food, and changes in the ecosystem, agriculture, industry, and human settlement and the economy. Air pollution, fires, and heat wave caused by global warming have dramatically affected human health in 2007. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimated that 150,000 people die each year from health-related problems. A study by the World Health Organization concluded that climate change was responsible for 3% of diarrhea, 3% of malaria death, and 3.8% of dengue death worldwide in 2004. Total attributed mortality was approximately 0.2% of death in 2004. Of this, 85% had died of children. The effects are more frequent and extreme storms were excluded from this study. According to a report by the United Nations Environment Programme and the International Livestock Research Institute, climate change may facilitate of the emergence of zoonosis, example disease that pass from animal to human. An example of such epidemic is the COVID-19 pandemic. Another minor effect is the increase in length and concentration of the pollen season in some parts of the world. Environmental requirement. Environmental requirement can be defined as any legal requirement relating to health, safety, or the environment as well as applicable to the borrower, any subsidiary or properties, but not limited to any requirement under the CERSLA or similar state legislation and local, federal, and state laws, regulation, ordinance, rights, decrees, commons law. In other words, environmental requirements includes all applicable present as well as future laws, statutes, rules, and regulation codes, ordinance, states, plans, license, orders, approval, permits, authorization, judicial, administrative, and regulatory decrees, directive as well as ruling of the government agency section. Commission and boards connecting to the safeguard of human health or safety or regulating or relating to industrialized hygiene or environmental condition or the safety of the environment, soil, surface, water, groundwater, such as without limitation. All requirements, regulation relating to reporting, permitting, licensing, investigating, and remediating emission, discharge, or pollution, or contaminating of the air releases or threatened release of hazardous substance, be it solid, liquid, or gases in nature into the air, surface water, or land, or relating to the manufacture, distribution, use, treatment, processing, storage, disposal, transport, or handling of hazardous substance, be it solid, liquid, or gases in the nature. Next,
To
I
conclude
pass it to
all what
Nur
I've
Muhammad
just
Shukri.
said before, the effect that scientists predicted in the past will result from global climate change are
Right,
occurring
thank you,
now.
Afiq, for
Loss
your
of sea,
explanation.
ice, accelerate
Carbon
sea level
footprint.
rise, and longer and more
A
intense
carbon
heat
footprint
wave.
corresponds to
The
the
US
whole
National
amount of
Oceanic and
greenhouse
Atmospheric
gases
Administration
GHG
NOAA
produced
shows
to
evidence
directly
of
and
global
indirectly
warming.
support
The
a
likelihood
person's
of
lifestyle and
warming
activities.
from unintended
Carbon footprints are
consequences increase
usually
with the
measured
speed,
in equivalent
magnitude,
tons
and
of
duration of
CO2
climate
during the
change.
period of a year,
Global warming
and they can
increase
be
the likelihood of
associated with
extreme
an
weather
individual,
events
an
such as heat wave where daily
organization,
maximum
or
temperature
a
exceeds
product,
the
or an
average maximum
event
temperature
among
by
others.
5 Celsius or 9 Fahrenheit for more than 5
The
consecutive
GHG
days.
was
Mortality
some
from
results in a
extreme
carbon
heat is
footprint can
greater
come from the
than mortality
production and
from
consumption of
hurricanes,
fossil
lightning
fuels,
tornadoes,
food,
flood, and
manufactured
earthquake
wood
combined.
materials,
in
roads,
most
and
part of the Earth
transportation.
since
And
1950, it
despite
is likely that at
its
any time
important
of the
carbon
year,
footprint are
the
difficult
day
to
and night will
calculate
warm
exactly
due to
due to
human
poor knowledge and short
activities.
data regarding the
Carbon
complex
footprint
interactions
corresponds to the
between
whole amount of
contributing
greenhouse
processes,
gases
including the
GHG
influence of
produced
natural
to
processes
directly
that
and
store or
indirectly
release carbon
support a person's
dioxide.
lifestyle and activities. That's all. Thank you.
Why do water footprint matters? It is because everything we use, wear, buy, sell, and eat takes water to make. The water footprints measure the amount of water used to produce each of the goods and services we use. It can be measured for a single process such as growing rice, for a product such as pair of jeans, for the fuel we put in our car, or for an entire multinational company. The water footprint can also tell us how much water is being consumed by a particular country or globally in a specific river, basin, or from an aquifer. The water footprint also allows us to answer a broad range of questions for companies, government, and individuals. For example, where is the water dependence in my company's operations or supply chain? How well are regulations protecting our water resources? How secure are our food or energy supplies? Can I do something to reduce my own water footprint and help us manage water for both people and nature? What makes a blue, green, grey water footprint? The water footprint has three components: green, blue, and grey. Together, these components provide a comprehensive picture of water used by delineating the source of water consumed, either as rainfall, soil moisture or surface or groundwater, and the volume of fresh water required for assimilation of pollutants. The water footprint can be measured in cubic meters per ton of production, per hectare of cropland, per unit of currency, and in other functional units. The water footprint helps us understand for what purpose our limited freshwater resources are being consumed and polluted. The impact it has depends on where the water is taken from and when, if it comes from a place where water is already scarce. The consequences can be significant and require action. Component of water footprint. Green water footprint is a water from precipitation that is stored in the root zone of the soil and evaporated, transpired, or incorporated by plants. It is particularly relevant for agricultural, horticultural, and forestry products. Blue water footprint. Blue water footprint is water that has been sourced from surface or groundwater resources and is either evaporated, incorporated into a product, or taken from one body of water and returned to another, or returned at a different time. Irrigated agriculture, industry, and domestic water use can each have a blue water footprint. Grey water footprint. Grey water footprint is the amount of fresh water required to assimilate pollutants to meet specific water quality standards. The grey water footprint considers point source pollution discharged to a freshwater resource directly through a pipe or indirectly through runoff of leaching from the soil, impervious surface, or other diffuse sources. This video will explaining more about carbon footprint.
Created using Powtoon.
Next video will explain more about water footprint.
Created using Powtoon.
Conclusion. It can be concluded that carbon footprint as well as carbon credits carries an importance in our daily life. Everyone should realize its effect and should try to protect the nature from its adverse effects. The carbon credit business is a rapidly changing business and people should be aware that market rates, protocols, and registration programs can change quickly. That's all from me. Thank you. I would like to pass this presentation to Amir Zakwan.
The carbon and water footprint concept were introduced about a decade ago, simultaneously but independently from one another. The The carbon footprint arose out of the debate on climate change as a tool to measure GHG emissions. The water footprint was introduced in the field of water resources management as a tool to measure water use in relation to consumption patterns. Comparison of carbon and water footprint. What is measured? Carbon footprint measure the anthropogenic emission of greenhouse gases, and water footprint, the human appropriation of fresh water resources in terms of volume of water consumed and polluted. Unit of measurement, spatial temporal dimension. Carbon footprint, mass of carbon dioxide CO2 equivalence per unit of time of or per unit of product. Water footprint, water volume per unit of time or per unit of product. Space temporal dimension. Carbon footprint, timing within the year and place of emission are not specific. It does not matter where and when carbon emissions occur. Carbon emission units are interchangeable. Water footprints are specific in time and by location. It matters where and when a water footprint occurs. Water footprint units are not interchangeable for some use. Total per average. Water footprints are shown. Those leaving out special temporal specification. Footprint component. Carbon footprint. CF per type of GHG CO2. CH CH4N2O HFC PFC and SFC. Emission per type of gas are weighed by their global warming potential before adding. Blue, green, and grey water footprint. If added, the three components are added without weighting. Entities for which the footprint can be calculated. Water carbon footprint. Processes, product, company, industry, sector, individual, consumer, groups of consumers, geographically delineated areas. Water footprint. Processes, product, company, industry, sector, individual, consumer, group of consumer, geographically delineated areas. calculation method. Carbon footprint, bottom-up approach. For processes, product, and small entity. The method of life cycle assessment, LCA, top-down approach. For sector, national and global studies. The method of environmentally extended input-output analysis, EEIOA, hybrid approach, LCA and EEIOA for product nation organization. Water footprint, bottom-up approach for processes, products, and business, but also for sector, national, and global studies. The method of bottom-up accounting in water footprint assessment. For product, the accounting along supply chains in water footprint is similar to the accounting in the life cycle inventory stage of LCA studies. Top-down approach for sector, national, and global studies. The method of top-down accounting in water footprint, which is based on drawing national vital water trade balance. The method of EEIOA is used as an alternative. Scope. Carbon footprint. First, direct emission. Second, indirect emission from electricity use. Third, other indirect emission. Water footprint. Always include direct and indirect water footprint. Sustainability of the footprint. Additional information is required to assess the sustainability of the carbon fiber for the planet as a whole. A maximum allowable GHG concentration needs to be estimated, which needs to be translated to a carbon footprint cap for specific processes and products, and carbon footprint benchmark can be used. Water footprint. Additional information is required to assess the sustainability of the water footprint per catchment area, freshwater availability, and waste assimilation capacity need to be estimated, which form a water footprint cap for the catchment for specific processes and products. Water footprint benchmark can be used. Next. Definition of biodiversity. Biodiversity is defined as the variability among living organisms from all sources, including inter alia, terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystem and the ecological complex of which they are part. This includes diversity within species, between species, and ecosystem. Biodiversity includes not only species we consider threatened or endangered, but also every living thing, from human to organisms such as microbes, fungi, invertebrates. Biodiversity conservation. Biodiversity conservation is the protection and management of biodiversity to obtain resources for sustainable development. Biodiversity conservation has three main objectives: to preserve the diversity of species, sustainable utilization of species and ecosystem, to maintain life supporting system and essential ecological processes. Type of biodiversity conservation. First, genetic diversity. Genetic diversity encompasses all the variety of different genetic information contained in animal, microorganisms, and plants. plants. A single species or organism with diverse genetic diversity portray more adaptability and survival mechanism against adverse environmental conditions compared to organisms of a single species with the same genetic makeup. 2. Species diversity. Species diversity refers to the variety of organisms in the environment. They can be further subdivided into species richness. It is the total number of species in given region or locality. It is measured using the Menning and Mengele indices. Special abundance. This is relative number of organisms among the species, the number of individuals per species. When species have equal abundance, their variation become high, which also make the diversity to be high. A low diversity scenario is not when the number of one species is 98 and the other species. Taxonomic diversity. Phylogenetic taxonomic diversity is the genetic relationship that exists between various groups of species. This kind of diversity is represented using a hierarchical classification based on the phylogenetic evolution of different species of organisms. Ecosystem diversity. It is relatively similar to species diversity except for the fact that it deals with the variation in ecosystem within a geographical location. From one region or country to another, there are different ecosystems or biomes, with examples such as alpine meadows, taigas, wetlands, grassland, mangrove, and deserts, among others. Next, global diversity. Global diversity refers to the range of difference that depict the composition of a group of two or more species in a global context. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, there is approximately 1.5 million different species of plant and animals spread across the world. 70% represent animal species, while 22% represent plants. Biodiversity preservation. Various measures that can be taken to conserve biodiversity may include prevention of deforestation, prevention of species extinction by poaching and killing, efficient use of nature resources, no human interventions on biologically affected lands. Others. Ways to preserve biodiversity. Support local farm. Regularly buying from small local farmers at stand or market helps to keep dollar in the local economy and support agricultural effort to conserve biodiversity. When at markets, it is important to know the lingo organic is ideal for you and for the planet, but farmers who practice integrated pest management can offer high quality product with nearly no chemical intervention. Community support agriculture is another great way to eat in season fresh local food while also financially supporting local farmers. Next, save the bees. Bees are important to preserving biodiversity, and they are increasingly under attack from varroa mites. You can help save them by planting nectar-producing wild flowers in your backyard, or even building bee boxes for local bees to call home. When embarking on DIY home projects, be mindful about the product you use, as standard backyard pesticide can be harmful or deadly to bees. Plant local flower, fruits, and vegetables. Research the flora, fruits, and veggies native to your area, and plant a variety in your backyard or a hanging garden. To aid in this effort, support local nurseries that specialize in native species. Nurseries can be great sources of information about plant maintenance and care. They should also be able to tell you where they source their plants from. The more local, the better. By supporting local wildlife, you're you're helping to preserve the biodiversity of your area and support its local ecosystem. Take shorter showers. Biodiversity depends on the abundance of local fresh water. Taking 5-minute showers and turning the water off while washing your hands, doing the dishes, or brushing your teeth are all easy ways to conserve water. Next. Respect local habitat. Plants growing in the park and nature preserve near you often play an important role in preserving the local ecosystem. When you're outdoors, protect local biodiversity by sticking to the walking path or hiking trail. Help your children and pets to do the same. Know the source. Check the product you buy and the company you support to ensure that your buying habits are not contributing to destruction of habitat elsewhere. Look for labels such as Forest Stewardship Council or Rainforest Alliance certificate. Both organizations are committed not only to the conservation of the Earth's resources, but also to advocating for the human rights of the native people who inhabit the land many products are sourced from. So, the conclusion for biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of various life organisms present on Earth and their interaction and interrelation in this ecosystem. There are three main types of biodiversity: genetic, species, biodiversity of ecosystem or habitat. Human domination is the greater common threat of biodiversity because it is exploit, power and consume all kinds of resources by endangering life of other species. Biodiversity is important for balancing our terrestrial environment and our ecosystem. Humans are also responsible for pollution and unwanted elements in the environment. Biodiversity conservation is very important for the sustainability for healthier land by preserving and protecting species, ecosystem and resources. If we do not act today, we can again witness the extinction of vulnerable biodiversity, which can further upset the balance of nature.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Zakwan and Shukri. That's all from us for this topic. Thank you and bye-bye.